If you're interested in attending Catholic worship, come consider the 10 o'clock a.m. Mass at St. Anthony Parish in Allston, Massachusetts. We're located just 4 blocks up from Soldiers Field Road at 43 Holton Street. You can check out our website at stanthonyalston.org. That's saintanthonyalston.org. And come to the 10 o'clock Mass and experience our chanted Liturgy of the Eucharist every Sunday. Let us offer our consecration to the Lord. Lord, we offer up to you this day as we continue through the Sermon of the Mount. Help us to understand the words you give to us today in regards to how we should live our faith with the practices of piety and other ways that your name may be glorified. And we ask this through Christ our Lord. Well, this is the part of the Sermon on the Mount. Maybe I should take a little sidetrack just to explain Sermon on the Mount. Matthew 5, 6, and 7. So we're now in chapter 6. So up until all of last week and up until yesterday, we were in chapter 5. Now we're in chapter 6. And here Jesus is talking about how to act within the concept of piety. So this is where he says, don't do things to be seen, but do them in service to the Lord. So it basically talks about doing things secretly. Now, the secret part is not about, people ask me this question every so often. The secret part is not about how to do it as much as how not to do it for the sake of the praise of others. And that's an important. So there's nothing wrong with doing any form of piety that people know about. And some people are afraid, well, if I do this and people find out, will I lose the credit for what I've done? No, it doesn't work that way. But what is happening is don't do it because, I am so holy, I do X, Y, and Z in my piety. No, it doesn't mean anything. What it does mean is to be living your faith in, your focus is on worshiping God, not getting all the great praise around you. And that's basically what he's saying. So he tells us, like on Ash Wednesday and Good Friday when we're called to fast, don't fast, go, I'm fasting today, I'm gonna fast, see how holy I am. He says, no, don't let anyone know you're fasting, because otherwise you're trying to get attention from other people. You're not worshiping God, you're just trying to tell people this is how I am. And what happens, this is the other part of this that's problematic. What happens is the person who fasts, even, maybe doing this and everyone, look at how great he is. That's exactly the way they're going to think. This guy is super holy because he fasts, whereas actually, or she, they're not doing anything for anyone. They're just fasting so that people will think they're super holy. And where this really shows up is in more secular ways. That's something that you will see. But then again, it's really about worshiping God. Now, one of the most powerful experiences in my life, and this is when I was in the Navy, we went to San Francisco between the two ships, I think 4 times. Between the two ships I was on. As a matter of fact, 4 times. As a matter of fact, I went under the Golden Gate Bridge 8 times before I ever went on top of the Golden Gate Bridge. So I went up to San Francisco 8 times. Well, if you don't know the Bay Area, which is San Francisco, you have San Francisco, and then across the bay is Oakland, and then beyond Oakland is Berkeley. And Berkeley has a reputation for being very, very, very progressive. And the University of Berkeley, well, there's a lot out there. So at the time, and this had to have been, when was I there? I think this would have been in the early 80s. There was a Redemptorist house there. I mean, the Redemptorists had a house there. They must have had a church next door. So you had a Redemptorist house, a Redemptorist church. And in the house, they would give presentations. And there, I met 5 of ultimately what were worldwide 17 people who were fasting to bring an end to the Cold War. And they were from all different faiths. There were Catholics, but the Catholics were not where we were in the Bay Area. But one woman was an Episcopalian, and they were fasting to end the arms race. It was a form of prayer. Now, they didn't make it super known. I mean, there was no special program on TV. There was no whatever. It was just a group of people who were doing that in different parts of the world. But they did come out and they talked about what they were doing, and this happened again up in Berkeley. Well, there's nothing wrong with that, but they have the greater purpose of praying to, in this case, since they were all different faiths, to God through their respective faiths to bring an end to the Cold War. Fascinating thing, actually, the arms race. We'll talk more on the other side of the break. We'll be right back right after this. You can now leave a message for us, which we can air and discuss on this program. Just call 617-297-7452. That's 617-297-7452. 617-297-7452. Feel free to call, leave a comment, a question, or even feedback, and we may play it on the air. I can discuss your comment or question as well, so give that a try. 617-297-7452, 617-297-7452. We're back, and we're talking about this powerful message of making sure that we do our acts of piety and fasting and everything else for God and not for show. And, you know, that's most of the way people do it. But you see people and there's a way of doing it that gives them away. I prayed there's two kinds. You know, I love to pray all night. I'm saying this hypothetically. This isn't me. I love to pray all night, and that's one of the things I like to do. I do it once a month, and that isn't boasting. That's just someone talking about their prayer life. Then there is, I prayed all night that I could grow in holiness. That's boasting. And that's the thing you want nothing to do with. And in a sense, those are the people you want nothing to do with, people who are boasting. I'm working so hard so that I will go to heaven. Are you working as hard as me? That's boasting. Those are, and what are they doing there? They're glorifying themselves. And what we want to do is make our whole focus on God. So really don't worry about that. I get that question every so often because people are worried about it. If you're worried about it, you're not focused on it. And the people who are not worried about it, the people who you can spot them a mile away. Look at how holy I am. Oh, please. It reminds me of the story of someone who was really burnt out, and so they were resting, and they were working in another parish, but they weren't really doing much ministry because they were really burnt out. And someone wanted to speak to them, and the reason why they wanted to speak to them was whatever. But you know, they saw him as a priest, and they said, "Look, can we talk?" And really, the person was doing nothing more than boasting of how holy they were and how they wanted to grow into holiness, which means that they were making two mistakes. They were, one, not respecting the needs of the priest at the time, who was severely burnt out, and two, they were boasting of their holiness. And you want to be careful of that. You don't want that to be a part of who you are. You want to make sure that your whole focus is on doing God's will, which generally it is going to be. You know, they have devotional practices all over the place, and we have them here at St. Anthony, but anyone who signs up for a devotional practice is not boasting. Everyone who stands on a street corner and saying, I'm praying the rosary all day so that I can show you how holy I am, that's absurd. You know, and there's no humility in that. There is only none. There is no humility in that. There was only really the pride of, look at who I am. And that's an important distinction. We want to be careful of that. Speaking of that, one of the people that you will see an example of humility is Cardinal O'Malley, because he's always wearing his habit, which is the brown vestment he wears usually wearing his habit. He's not wearing all the time, but he wears it quite often, which is an archbishop and a cardinal he doesn't have to wear, but he does. So he wears his habit, but that's not him walking around saying, I am wearing my habit. It's him living that humble lifestyle that he embraced when he joined the Capuchin order. That's a whole different thing. So you can see what Jesus is talking about is two different understanding. And if you're worried about doing the boasting part, then you're not boasting. If you're not worrying about the boasting part, that doesn't mean that you're boasting. But if you're turning around and telling people how holy you are because you do all these prayers, that doesn't mean anything. And maybe I can give you one example. You know that I do a holy hour every day. Pretty much. Okay, occasionally I make miss. But I do a holy hour Now, when I tell you that, I'm not boasting. Because if you remember, what have I told you? That's the most important thing I do. As a matter of fact, my commencement address a week ago, I said the most dangerous thing you can do is not pray. Remember, if you heard the commencement address, you heard that I said, and I've been a sailor, I've been robbed in countries, I've had death threat, I've had hate mail, I've had all these experiences, I've skydived, things I didn't go into, I've been electrocuted, I wasn't knocked out, I was just... They say the dangerous path, up one arm, through your heart, down the other. Yep, went through one of those. Yep, and all that stuff. And still, I will tell you the most dangerous thing, as I said in the commencement address, is not to pray. But that's not me boasting I'm praying. It's me explaining how important prayer is. We'll be back tomorrow. Have yourself a blessed day. We'll see you then. I want to call your attention to Catholic TV, which offers great faith-filled, family-friendly programming 24 hours a day. You can find your cable channel at www.getcatholictv.com, and you can watch online on the free apps or check out the YouTube channel. Daily Mass, Rosaries, the Divine Mercy Chaplet, and the Our Lady of Perpetual Help Novena are all available online and on demand. Check out CatholicTV.com. Remember, when you're looking for a place to attend Mass, and if you don't already attend Mass at your local parish, come to St. Anthony Parish in Allston, Massachusetts. We're located at 43 Holton Street in Allston, just a few blocks up from Soldiers Field Road. And you can check us out, come to our 10 o'clock a.m. Mass, and come to experience our Catholic worship at St. Anthony Parish in Allston, Massachusetts.